Last time we asked for 2,500 likes and we got them, so thank you. And here is part 2, which will more than anything focus on some of the other things that were missing or missed the mark in Breath of the Wild. Only this time we are purely focusing on gameplay and in-game content, as these are areas that can clearly be built upon. So just like last time, 2,500 likes and you have a part 3. And if you haven't already, subscribe to not miss any upcoming episodes of Inside Breath of the Wild 2. Plus, we got Dr. Wily to join us for some of the Majora points in this video.
Number 1. Greater variety of more sinister enemies. Breath of the Wild 2 will be dark, and then Ainuma means dark, Majora's Mask dark. Yes, evil. And what did Majora's Mask have? An entire region with creepy and scary enemies of different kinds. The Breath of the Wild sequel needs them too, and thus on top of the current list of enemies, we need to see the return of Poes, Gyptos, Like-Likes, Wall and Floor Masters, Redeads, and naturally Darknuts to name a few. Them plus a number of new creatures created by Mummy Ganondorf. Say, brand new creatures that we have never seen in Zelda before. They have the same weight and importance such as the Garo and the Stealth Children plus the Warriors of Ikkala had on Majora's Mask. By this we mean enemies with a frightening design and a similar feeling of dread as the Mobile Guardians offered us.
Another great bonus in this regard with the sophisticated AI that we saw in Breath of the Wild would be to have some scary looking but at the same time intelligent and misunderstood enemies that you first have to fight but then aid when they realise that they were in the wrong. Perhaps one or two of them might become allies after the battle and even provide a crucial guidance, song or item. You now have enemies that see a different outcome than just rush straight at Link and get slaughtered. This will greatly add to the game. Number 2. New items that we can't possibly imagine. Breath of the Wild 2 inherits a ton of great features from Breath of the Wild, though the durability of weapons should be increased and swords, shields and bows about to break should be possible to repair. With that said, if there is one thing I love in Zelda, then it's innovation that makes the series better. And one such example were the masks in Majora's Mask, which allowed you to even transform into a Deku, Goron and Zora? Breath of the Wild already has some rather cool masks with cool gameplay effects. Perhaps the list of masks could be extended, but rather than following an old recipe, why not create something with a similar impact? A direct sequel needs to do some things differently and stand on its own 2 feet to not live in the shadow of the original, and this is where a key set of items, along with a strong story and clever use of these in dungeons, or if you prefer Zonai temples, could elevate the game to the next level, just like the mask did from Majora's Mask.
Number 3. Better quests. Majora's Mask is the definition of a side quest, an adventure that the hero of time makes upon defeating Ganondorf and then returning back to relive his childhood. Obviously, during the quest to locate his lost friend Navi, he gets sidetracked out of Hyrule and into Termina. And here, besides a good main quest, he faces some of the deepest and most tragic side quests found in any video game. The list is long, and many of them are attached to acts of morality, which adds weight to most of them, no matter how short or long they are. Still, multiple stage side quests allow to tell a narrative that can either be a feel-good quest of hope, like building Terrytown in Akkala, or be a last hour prior to the apocalypse love story that is so tragic but good, that it's regarded not only as the best side quest in the Zelda series, but one of the best side quests in video games, period. Breath of the Wild 2 needs to put more emphasis on side quests and make multiple of them multi-stage based, with solid characters and plot to follow. We don't want to speculate on what these could be, as who could have guessed that we would get a heartwarming quest such as Terrytown in a post-apocalyptic experience. More, better and longer side quests. That's the recipe for a better sequel that can finally revive Majora's Mask side quests in quality. Still, Terrytown could inspire something in Breath of the Wild 2.
Number 4. Restoring the ruined settlements. The ending of Breath of the Wild was filled with hope of restoring Hyrule to its former greatness. But you know what? Let Zelda say it.
Although Ganon is gone for now, there is still so much more for us to do, and so many painful memories that we must bear. I believe in my heart that if all of us work together, we can restore Hyrule to its former glory. Perhaps even beyond. But it all must start with us. Let's be off.
Hyrule may be about to face a resurrected Ganondorf, but Zelda is still determined to restore as much of Hyrule as possible. After all, Link together with Hudson built Tarrey Town before the Calamity was destroyed. Now with Zelda free, could some of the ruined settlements scattered across Hyrule be restored? And will there be any deeper purpose added to the many ruined settlements in Breath of the Wild 2? The potential is definitely there. After we have visited and fought monsters in all of them in Breath of the Wild, a big side quest revolving around settlements and filling them up with inhabitants to restore Hyrule would make a ton of sense. In the end, later on we might see them burn to the ground after all anyway. Remember, this game is going to be very dark. Anyway, restoring the ruins could function in a similar fashion to the Tarrey Town side quest. We both had to build and find the right settlers. Obviously, restoring Hyrule Castle Town will not be a part of this because, well, I think Ganondorf is in charge of that place.
Number 5. A new main town. Since Majora's Mask, we are still waiting for the town which, by its scope and NPCs, will outdo Terminus Clocktown. What was done with that place was incredible, and it would take 17 years until settlements once again became as vibrant and sophisticated. In other words, with NPCs that have a programmed schedule that you need to follow in order to complete specific side quests. Breath of the Wild settlements were an example of this, but it's time to get a proper town again that can truly show that Zelda doesn't only excel in organic, but also urban environments. Obviously, this will not be Castle Town, though we know how it looks based on multiple cutscenes and this concept art of its centre from creating a champion. Instead, it would be great if this city was either in a new added province or hidden underneath Hyrule with brand new NPCs, brand new side quests. That way, it could become one of the greatest locations in Breath of the Wild 2, and indeed, the entire Zelda series.
Number 6. Princess Zelda playable in certain sections of the game. The debate on whether Princess Zelda should be playable in Breath of the Wild 2 has been raging since the reveal of the game at E3. The most important clue is, let's face it, the haircut. The first Zelda with short hair appears to be more determined and strong-willed than any of the past princesses. She's adventurous and highly intelligent and could be a great asset to Link as they look for a way to bring down Ganondorf once and for all. Zelda will never allow Link to go alone with the Master Sword to face the greatest evil found in Hyrule. The reveal trailer was a clear sign of that. Thus, if Zelda is to be with Link, she will also have to be able to defend herself, with a rapier as seen in Twilight Princess, but also with magic. Zelda could be a very OP character, and thus instead of making her a switchable character throughout the entire game, give her a more supportive role in certain crucial situations, or at least have sections where you play as her. Zelda would have to play a little differently than Link, as she isn't as physically strong as him, but at the same time way more intelligent. Zelda's items are a given: the Sheikah Slate if it's making a return, the Sealing Power, and the Light Arrows. Overall, she could serve a similar gameplay role to Ciri in The Witcher 3, and it would be very interesting to see how powerful Wisdom and Courage in its true form is against Ganondorf, the former wielder of the Triforce of Power. Having Zelda playable could also offer some interesting customization options attached to her clothing, headwear, and possibly her hair.
Number 7. Extended character customization. This next point might be minor or even silly for some of you, but heck, let's do it anyway. Breath of the Wild finally made it possible for us to make Link run around in his underwear, but also locate or buy clothing, and in most cases even dye these in the HATENO dye shop. This was all awesome, but you know what? It's time to extend character customization, and the reveal trailer might have hinted at 2 specific potential options. Armor customization that we talked about in the previous video, and Zelda's new hairdo. Yes, we are talking about hair customization now that Princess Zelda has opened the floodgates of her incredibly hot bob, which, who knows, maybe even Link gave her with the Master Sword. Anyway, shout out to Medelizabeth on Twitter for permission to include her little webcomic. Seeing that Zelda made the big cut, maybe it's time for Link to get his first haircut in, well, over 100 years? And then after Zelda takes care of Link's messy hair, why not give us the player the option to change the hairstyle of Link and Zelda at will? This isn't anything new in video games in series such as GTA, The Witcher, but also Nintendo franchises like Pokemon and now Astral Chain allows for hair customization, cuts, and even dyes. It is a little bit silly, but it would be fun to give the option for Link and Zelda to get multiple haircuts at HAIRLINK barbers and perhaps even dye their hair from, who knows, Sage at the HATENO dye shop.
Number 8. Hidden skills. Hyrule needs a skilled swordsman that can take on Ganondorf in a one-on-one fencing duel. Why do we think this will be the case? Monk Mas Koshia. He tested out Link in this scenario to see if he is ready to take on Ganondorf that has been trapped for 20,000 plus years under the Zonai seal. No, we need some extra skills akin to those we learned in the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Perhaps this time, if both Link and Zelda have roles to play, we could see skills specific to each character that we learn after the first encounter with Ganondorf, which probably will not go too well. It would definitely change our approach to combat in the game and make it possible to battle harder enemies than the ones found in Breath of the Wild, say the Darknuts that were completely missing in the original. And besides, if both Link and Zelda would be playable, perhaps they could learn different techniques. There's a sea of possibilities here. Since we're on the topic of water...
Number 9. Underwater Exploration. We will get back to underwater exploration in detail in a future episode of Inside Breath of the Wild. Even so, seriously, Hyrule has all this water that we cannot explore under the surface. Why? Every 3D Zelda game, with the exception of the Wind Waker, has had underwater swimming and diving as key elements. Breath of the Wild 2 needs to fix this mistake, as swimming underwater is natural, like me jumping and swimming. The underwater depths of Hyrule are beautiful and full of unused potential. This goes in particular if we get a proper water temple, but also for regular swimming, salvaging, exploration, and so on. It's there, Nintendo, to take advantage of, and while we're at it, please give us a fishing minigame. Please?
Number 10. More real-life organic interactions. Hashtag let us pet the dogs. Breath of the Wild elevated our expectations to video games with its organic approach to everything from climbing, paragliding, physics, chemistry, and so much more. The result is the most immersive Zelda experience ever, with minimal loading screens. But it can still become better, since nothing ruins immersion more than limitations. And here is a list of things that we hope will become more interactive in a sequel of Breath of the Wild. So sit tight, let us be able to sit on chairs and rocks, open other stuff than chests like closets and drawers, fish with a fishing rod, and most importantly, let us pet them dogs! Nothing was more irritating than walking up to the adorable doggos and not being able to pet or lift them. We are talking about realism here, like for real. That plus having some pettable cats like mine in the one scene in Twilight Princess, plus some other animals that we can ride.
And there you have it, 10 more features we want to see in Breath of the Wild 2. Yes, this is just the beginning, as we have so many more things we want to see. But to do so, as we already mentioned, 2,500 likes on this video and you got it. And as many of you as possible to subscribe to Commonwealth Realm and Dr. Wily and press that shiny notification bell to not miss our upcoming Zelda productions. It would also greatly help if some of you became Patreons, just like the people at the bottom of the screen on patreon.com/commonrealm. Until the next video, this was Conrad, Leo, and Timer, and we will see you in future videos.